Dr. Rose Cotter, a dedicated therapist, has spent her life helping others navigate their psychological traumas. However, she herself is haunted by the traumatic memory of her mother's suicide, which she witnessed at the tender age of 10. This dark shadow looms over her, shaping her into a compassionate yet troubled professional. Her journey into an abyss of horror begins when she encounters Laura Weaver, a frantic graduate student admitted to Mount Pleasant Hospital. Laura's distress is palpable. Just days earlier, she had witnessed her professor, Gabriel Munoz, bludgeon himself to death with a hammer in a grotesque and brutal act. Laura's eyes, wide with terror, convey a haunting story. She insists that she is being pursued by a malevolent entity, an unseen force that wears a grotesque smile. This entity, she claims, is visible only to her and has consumed her life with dread and paranoia. Despite Rose's attempts to diagnose Laura's experiences as hallucinations brought on by trauma, Laura's conviction is unwavering. She believes the entity has the power to appear as other people, wearing an eerie, sinister smile. The intensity of Laura's fear reaches a horrifying crescendo when she suddenly freaks out, her face contorting into that same eerie smile before she slashes her own throat with a shard of a broken vase, right in front of Rose. The gruesome spectacle leaves Rose in shock, her mind reeling. The investigation into Laura's death brings Rose into contact with Detective Joel, her ex-boyfriend. The reappearance of Joel stirs up old memories, but the present horror overshadows everything. Shaken by what she witnessed, Rose recounts Laura's harrowing tale of a curse, a malevolent presence with a haunting smile. Joel listens, his skepticism evident, but the sincerity in Rose's voice is undeniable. As the days pass, Rose begins to experience strange and unsettling visions. She sees Laura's smiling visage in unexpected places, her eerie smile a constant reminder of the nightmare that started with that emergency session. These visions spur Rose to delve deeper into Gabriel Munoz's suicide, hoping to find a link or an explanation. Her investigation reveals that Gabriel had been exhibiting the same eerie smile before his death, mirroring Laura's final moments. This connection between the two cases becomes undeniable, pulling Rose deeper into a nightmarish reality. The unsettling nature of her visions leads Rose to check on Carl Rankin, a patient previously admitted for a manic episode. Carl's ominous smile and threatening behavior push Rose to call for security, but it soon becomes clear that she had imagined his aggressive demeanor. The line between reality and hallucination begins to blur for Rose. Believing that Laura's shocking death may have triggered a mental breakdown, Rose's boss, Dr. Morgan Desai, puts her on a week's leave to recover. Alone at home, Rose's isolation only exacerbates her fears. Another terrifying vision of Laura occurs, followed by a taunting call from a supposed security service operator. The real operator calls shortly after, heightening Rose's paranoia and sense of unreality. Her fiancé, Trevor, returns home to find Rose in a distressed state, her cat mysteriously missing. As they review the audio from her session with Laura, Rose becomes increasingly unsettled. Concerned for her mental health, she seeks help from her former therapist, Dr. Madeline Northcott. Northcott attributes Rose's hallucinations to unresolved guilt over her mother's death and denies her request for antipsychotic medication, leaving Rose feeling more desperate and isolated. The situation escalates dramatically during a birthday party for Rose's 7-year-old nephew, Jackson, at her sister Holly's house. The joyous occasion turns horrifying when Jackson opens Rose's gift to find her dead cat inside. Rose, vehemently insisting on her innocence, experiences another vision of Laura, leading to a fall through a glass table. Her mental state is unraveling rapidly. She tries to explain the curse to Trevor, who accuses her of inheriting her mother's mental illness and killing their cat. Desperate for answers, Rose visits Victoria, Gabriel Munoz's widow. Victoria reveals disturbing sketches that Gabriel drew of a dark entity he believed was trying to possess him. Gabriel, traumatized by his brother's death 20 years earlier, began speaking of the curse after witnessing a woman kill herself at a conference. Victoria's patience wears thin as Rose's insistence on the reality of the curse grows, leading her to expel Rose from the house. Rose's desperation leads her back to Joel, who reluctantly agrees to help her connect the clues. Using his police access, Joel digs into Angela Powell's file, a real estate agent who died under similar mysterious circumstances. Additional footage shows Angela witnessing a man smiling eerily before hacking his own neck with gardening shears at a gas station. This evidence further supports Rose's belief in the curse's existence and its deadly pattern. Returning home, Rose finds that Trevor has called Drive Northgate for an intervention, fearing for Rose's sanity. Feeling betrayed, Rose storms out, taking Joel's files with her to her sister Holly's house. There, Rose attempts to explain the curse to Holly, but it only leads to a heated argument. Holly accuses Rose of behaving like their abusive mother, deepening the rift between the sisters. Joel's continued investigation reveals a disturbing chain of 20 similar cases involving witnesses to suicides. The pattern shows a grim exception. Robert Talley, an accountant who broke the chain by murdering a stranger instead of killing himself. This action caused the curse to pass to the eyewitness, who committed suicide a week later, resuming the deadly pattern. Joel and Rose visit Robert in jail, where he reveals that the only way to break the curse is to kill someone else in front of a witness, as the entity needs trauma to sustain itself. Robert's realization that Rose carries the curse causes him to panic, further emphasizing the danger she faces. Back at home, Rose's encounter with the entity impersonating Drive Northgate nearly drives her to madness. Armed with a kitchen knife, she drives to the hospital, determined to confront the entity. There, she experiences a horrifying vision of stabbing her patient Carl to death, followed by Dr. Desai tearing off his own face. The real Dr. Desai finds Rose in her car with the knife, prompting him to issue an APB for her arrest. Determined to face the entity alone and prevent anyone else from inheriting the curse, Rose returns to her abandoned childhood home. Inside, she confronts a vision of her mother, who accuses Rose of allowing her to die by not calling for help. Rose confronts her mother's memory, accusing her of being abusive. The vision morphs into a grotesque creature that attacks Rose. In a desperate act, Rose sets the creature on fire using an oil lantern and escapes as the house burns. Believing she has defeated the entity, Rose visits Joel to apologize for dragging him into the nightmare and for her past emotional unavailability. However, she realizes the curse still lingers when Joel smiles eerily at her. Rose flees, only to find herself still trapped in her childhood home. The Real Joel arrives, and to protect him, Rose locks him out while the creature forces her to set herself on fire as Rose succumbs to the curse. The tragic and chilling cycle of horror continues. The malevolent entity remains undefeated, lurking in the shadows, ready to claim its next victim. The tale of Dr. Rose Cotter is a haunting reminder of the inescapable grip of past traumas and the terrifying power of malevolent forces that defy rational explanation. The story leaves us with an unsettling question. How many others will fall victim to the sinister smile before the curse can finally be broken?